Hi, welcome to the Catapult PR show. Today, we're talking customer close encounters of the most useful kind, as Catapult PR has a bit of gold dust in its hands. Valuable insight for anyone who's working in the insurance sector, running their own insurance broking business, or working in insurance marketing. The good news is, we're sharing it with you. That's the sort of generous person I am. Let's just set the scene a bit. For the past 25 years, yes, I know the wrinkles aren't too bad at present, but it's true, Catapult PR has been continuously promoting insurance products. Some have been sold direct and are personal lines products such as motorcycle, pet, travel, and home insurance. That's why one of my greatest claims to fame is having sat on motorcycling legend Eddie Kidd's lap. But there you go. Others have been commercial insurance products sold through insurers. In fact, our very first client was Abbey National Direct. All of this followed on from my career in-house. I'd worked for nearly 6 years in the electricity and gas industries. I then became Swinton Insurance's PR manager back in 1993. That was a really swift learning curve to not only promote all of Swinton's insurance products in the national press, but also write and edit its in-house employee magazine. That sort of put me into the insurance spotlight, and I was then asked to go to an agency in order to launch Privilege Insurance, which was then a high-risk motor insurer. What resulted was an award-winning campaign. I then moved elsewhere and created a CIPR Sword of Excellence National Award-winning campaign for Yorkshire Bank and its flexible payment mortgage. I was also handling the PR for Green Flag Motor and Home Rescue, Wedding Plan Wedding Insurance, and Britannia's CSR programme, including its sponsorship of Stoke City. I was literally doing everything from building 8-foot icebergs on the Thames riverbank to hiring Tom Jones tribute acts and staging photo shoots with a Ferrari in the middle of Trafalgar Square, all to breathe life into insurance and financial services campaigns. That trend has continued. We have 61 awards here at Catapult, as I speak, for a very good reason. Our very first were won in 1999 for motorcycle and travel insurance campaigns. When it came to the Grand Prix Award for the best campaign across all campaigns conducted in the Northwest that year, the judge stood on the stage and said, this campaign was for a product that at face value was very dull, or words to that effect. Ta-da! It didn't take a genius to work out that he was talking about our highly creative campaign for insurance. Bringing colour to insurance campaigns is what we do, which is why we have an insurance credentials leaflet called Banishing the Grey. But this year I wanted to do something else. Having promoted insurance for 30 years, I've truly started to believe that things have gone backwards. There seems to be very little creativity in insurance promotion now. Even worse, the digital age has seemingly created a scenario in which the only communication to customers is now in the form of e-shots and issued only when an insurer wants to sell them something, or through social media posts that absolutely nobody reads. To me, it seemed as though there was a massive opportunity to stand apart in the sector now, whether you're selling direct, are an insurer who needs to enhance appreciation of products, or a broker serving commercial clients. Nobody, in my view, is doing anything different, unless they're a Catapult PR client, of course. But then that's one major reason why our Catapult PR clients are winning and being shortlisted for their own major insurance awards, because they've done something that differentiates them. But hang on a minute, was my view too critical? Were my eyes too attracted to all the grey insurance marketing that I was perceiving with my marketer's hat on? Did the customer feel differently? And what do they feel at a time when their insurance premiums are rocketing and when there's a major cost of living crisis? There was only one way to find out. We asked consumers, commissioning an independent survey through Census Wide. The result of this is a new download available at the Catapult PR website called Your Insurance Marketing Wake-Up Call. Why? Well, because I wasn't wrong. The insurance industry needs to wake up and shake up its marketing really fast. We've number crunched and analysed all of the findings for you so you can see for yourself what the public think. More importantly, perhaps, we've provided some marketing tips so that anyone can do something to alter their approach and start to put things right. Whilst you can head to the downloads area at catapultpr.co.uk to get a copy of the document, or you could email me direct on jane@catapultpr.co.uk, or call me on 07711 628 661, or connect with me on LinkedIn and message me for a copy. We've also got some broad brush headlines for you. Firstly, the average insurance customer is not happy. A pretty significant proportion feel less positive towards insurers and insurance providers than they did a year ago. That should send alarm bells ringing and should convince you that your marketing needs to work harder to attract and retain customers or clients. Sitting back and believing all is rosy is not the way to go. Whilst you may think cutting back on marketing is the answer in an economic downturn, it really is the worst thing you could do. Equally bad, however, is carrying out the wrong marketing and spending thousands on activity that is doing nothing to help and probably making things a whole lot worse. We also found that many customers are looking to make cuts to their insurance. That could directly impact on your income, but also potentially expose clients to losses. You have a duty to be trying to protect customers, but are your marketing efforts and communication strategies doing enough to make that happen? Then there's some pretty big news. A worrying and large proportion of customers go as far as to say that they are literally sick of call centre service. That's hardly holding back with what they think, is it? Customers are tired of being treated like statistics, and you should be doing everything through your marketing to overcome this, not to mention sorting your call centre service out. But what are you actually doing other than sitting in your control room? How much engagement are you engaging in? If you're a broker, however, having a vast swathe of the public being pig sick of call centres is manna from heaven, isn't it? But let's turn the spotlight on you for a minute. What are you actually doing marketing-wise to capitalise on this situation? In many cases, I suspect the answer is nothing, or a combination of doing the wrong things in a very grey way again. My advice, carpe diem. You could start to turn the insurance tide back towards the high street, even if the high street is now probably an office on a business estate or actually based in your own garden. So what are the wrong things that insurance companies and insurers are doing? We asked consumers about some of them. Scaremongering is one thing that's a real turn-off. Customers don't want to see it and want to see you actually promoting positives about your brand and its values, rather than quoting health and safety statistics or details of the latest HSE fine. Can you blame them? It's about as exciting to the vast majority as having sprouts with their Christmas dinner. Your customers are also likely to be amongst a large proportion who really don't understand their insurance covers. Whose fault is that? Surely that's down to the people selling them, who just aren't communicating on the same wavelength as the individuals who need their products a lot of the time. There's just too little storytelling. Too much product information is delivered last minute at an annual review with no warming up of the customer beforehand. You're effectively talking them through War and Peace when you should have been translating product information into bite-sized Enid Blyton style episodes all year round. I exaggerate a little, but purely for emphasis and to drive the point home. But all of this lack of understanding is also because of factors such as tone of voice, and because a lot of the communication is full of jargon. And I'm not saying that that's what the customer thinks. Just download our booklet and check it out. The customer is also pig sick of insurance providers only talking to them when they want something. We feel used is the undercurrent here within the customer mood. Nobody wants to feel that, do they? There comes a day when they kick back. Be honest, are you adding any value for them in your communications? Do you bring them into your fold, sharing more than the cost of their insurance premium for the year? Although you can't answer this question, I'm going to interpret the silence this end as a no, as I know that most of you aren't. Given how many external communications newsletters we used to produce here for the likes of Bennett's Motorcycle Insurance and Primary Direct, when print was the big thing, I have to question why external comms has now been relegated to mere emailed sales fodder. Just start to engage and entertain your customers. It's much more fun when you've got a relationship with them. As for the online content that's being produced in the form of blogs and downloads, most customers can take it or leave it, and typically leave it, as it's just not interesting enough and too little effort is going into it. Perhaps that's because it's often being written through an insurance employee or ex-insurance employee's eyes, rather than having a fresh approach from a copywriter who can bring the subject matter to life. Perhaps it's because most insurance companies use their news sections to talk about themselves, rather than creating articles that entertain their customers and are more subtle in the sell. Maybe what's being written isn't being written with a customer avatar in mind. Remember that To Kill a Mockingbird thing? Step into another man's shoes. Ditch the ego and write for the person you want to bring into your inner circle. What also breaks my heart, having had such a long career in CSR promotion, really started when I handled all the national corporate social responsibility PR for British Gas in London, having been told to trot downstairs and find out what social policy do, is that our findings show just how little consumers know what is going on in this respect. Insurance companies, who are very often engaging in CSR activity, really need to up their game when it comes to communicating their CSR activity to their customers and potential customers. Just read the research findings and you'll see why. Why would you spend so much money and then get things so wrong by not telling people about it? It's baffling. Just spread the gospel. So let's just see where we are after all of this. Insurance to most consumers is, as it always has been, one of the dullest topics out there. It's an intangible. It's a grudge purchase. It's not floating anyone's boat other than mine, but then I'm a little bit sad. The really bad news and the takeout from our survey, however, is that most of the marketing being undertaken by the sector is making things worse. 55% of customers believe that anyone who can make insurance interesting deserves a medal. Perhaps that's why Catapult PR has 12 top awards for insurance marketing, both national and regional. We could even be adding to that tally in late November. Perhaps it's also why our insurance clients win other awards. Well, in fact, that's true of all of our clients, in fairness, as we don't just turn on our creative juices for insurance. We have 61 awards for a reason, because we don't look at things in the way that others do. We certainly don't believe that insurance has to be grey. We create campaigns that speak to the customer rather than looking inwards. We work with clients who are prepared to be bold and do that rarest of insurance things, taking a bit of a risk. When they do, the rewards are clear to see. Whenever I look at an insurance brief, Jean Pickney comes into my head. Changing the grey and changing the blue. Scarlet for me and scarlet for you. There's nothing wrong with a bit of scarlet in insurance marketing. Nobody will burn you at the stake for it. As our research shows, more insurance companies need to take this on board, because little that you are doing is ticking the box of the people you are supposed to be serving, the customers. Marketing is often too self-serving, too wrapped up in what people in the ivory tower think customers want to hear, rather than what they need, and too much of a damp squib to set the world alight. Dare I say it, it's far too often being ruled by compliance departments who can erode insurance company marketing from the inside through their conservative approach. It's what I call the Mr. Bean syndrome. Recalling the words to Mr. B in the Bean movie's Whistler's Mother's scene. Those words are, if you're someone who's not au fait with the Beanmeister, if you do nothing, nothing can go wrong. Too often that seems to be the starting point for many in an insurance campaign or insurance approval process. The trouble is that things are going wrong. You're losing touch with the customer, and that's business suicide. In this regard, marketing departments need to grow a pair, discuss things with their compliance departments, and find a more than half-decent compromise when it comes to differentiated and more creative approaches. If not, more totally grey and beige communications and campaigns will emerge, and it's all just a waste of time, as the consumer is drifting ever further away. You may not care. Your attitude may be that there will always be a need for insurance, so the customer or the consumer will have to get in touch with you, even if you can't be bothered with them. If that's your attitude, you're missing the point. What is the point? Market share. There's a massive opportunity here for anyone that's prepared to step out of the shadows and do things differently. You can gain a much bigger slice of the pie if you start to differentiate yourself. We've seen it in action so many times here, as we've helped shape the journey of many clients who've experienced a huge growth trajectory by listening to our advice and letting us run with our ideas. I was initially a little shocked as it came out of the blue, but then was highly amused, as I like a good challenge, when one insurance client said to me in November 2013, "You're either a damn good PR or you're full of BS." As we head towards our 10th anniversary and review where we've come in those 10 years with this client, I think he knows which it was. I don't do BS. Say it how it is or don't bother speaking at all. I've no time for fake in any aspect of life. So head to our website, get the booklet, absorb all the research, and resolve to switch things up. Whether you want a PR campaign or dynamic content or both, I'm only a phone call away. And wherever you're based in the country doesn't matter, as clients come to us for our expertise, not our geographical location. Just to convince you that this sort of positive action is a good thing and that you can actually step outside of your grey insurance comfort zone, do things differently and reap huge rewards, I'll leave you with one of my favourite quotes, and one that I always embrace even when poodling around and seeking out fantastic places for our leisure podcast, aptly named, as a matter of fact, Poodling Around, and a place where some personal line stories could probably sit. As someone, and apologies as I really can't recall who it was, once said, "If you don't go over the top, how do you know what's over the hill?" I think that always. Better to have bags of personality than to be a wet lettuce or produce, as someone I once knew said, wishy-washy material. That's probably why I have a mug that says, "Today I did not wake up to be mediocre." And that's the wake-up call, really. Stop being mediocre with your insurance marketing. Be bold, be brave, change the grey and be more catapult. At least if your starting point is scarlet, you can tone it down a little. If your departure point is grey, there's nowhere to go other than to the drain down which your marketing budget is being poured. Head to catapultpr.co.uk, download the Research Insight booklet from the download section and get cracking. Things can only get better.